Who would have thought, even word for leaks, we will be getting a new DoT unit after such a long time since Black Swan. This archetype has long been considered outdated, unable to keep up with the current meta. Plus, the developers rarely release new DoT units as if the whole concept has been forgotten. That is, until Kafka received her buff and now HYSILENS is arriving in patch 3.5. Will the DoT meta make a comeback, or will it remain in the shadows? In this video, I will break down HYSILENS full kit, including her EIDOLONS, signature light cone, synergy characters, and of course, her pros and cons. Before we begin, I would really appreciate it if you hit the like and subscribe button, so let's get this started. HYSILENS is a limited 5-star physical character who follows the path of nihility. Naturally, the type of team that synergizes with her is a DoT team. As expected from her path, she specializes in applying debuffs to enemies, one of which increases their damage taken and creates a special zone that reduces both their attack and defense. HYSILENS can also apply additional instances of bleed DoT when enemies take damage from other DoT units. But what makes her truly special is that when she uses her skill, basic attack or ultimate, she can inflict additional types of DoT on enemies, prioritizing those they haven't already been afflicted with. On top of that, whenever her allies attack, their attacks can also inflict various kinds of DoT effects. Her base stats includes attack of 601 and speed of 102. The bonus stats she gains as she levels up are attack, speed, and effect hit rate. HYSILENS won't rely on her basic attack to deal damage, since this ability simply performs a single target physical attack, equal to 100% of her attack. Her skill, however, plays a significant role in applying debuffs. When used, she attacks all enemies with physical damage and has a base chance of 100% to increase the damage that they take by 20% for 3 turns. Her ultimate creates a zone while simultaneously dealing physical damage to all enemies. This zone applies a debuff that reduces the enemy's attack by 15% and defense by 25%. Additionally, every time an enemy inside the zone takes DoT damage, they will also take bleed damage equal to 80% of HYSILENS attack for each DoT that triggers. This bleed effect can trigger up to 8 times per enemy. The zone lasts for 3 turns, but its duration is reduced by 1 each time HYSILENS takes a turn. Now, as we discussed earlier, you might be wondering, how does HYSILENS inflict other types of DoT like burn or shock? The answer lies in her talent. When HYSILENS uses her basic attack, skill, or ultimate, there's a base chance of 100% for her to inflict various types of DoT effects, prioritizing ones that the enemy has not already been afflicted with. Under this condition, wind shear, burn, and shock will each deal DoT equal to 25% of HYSILENS attack that will last for 2 turns. As for bleed, it behaves differently. At the start of the enemy's turn, they will take bleed DoT equal to 20% of their max HP. However, this bleed damage is capped at 25% of HYSILENS attack. So what about her traces? Will they make HYSILENS performance even more powerful and refined? Let's break them down together. Even though her ultimate is crucial, it comes with a fairly high energy cost to create the zone. Fortunately, Trace 1 helps ease this by allowing HYSILENS to immediately create a zone identical to her ultimates at the start of the battle, which lasts for 3 turns also. HYSILENS already has a gimmick that lets her apply DoT types beyond bleed, using any of her abilities, thanks to her talent. But Trace 2 enhances this further by enabling her allies' attacks to also help inflict different types of DoT. Whenever an ally launches attack, there will be a base chance for HYSILENS to apply DoT, just like her talent does, which lasts also for 2 turns. Then we have Trace 3, which acts as a self-buff. For every 10% effect hit rate HYSILENS has beyond 60%, her damage will increase by 15%, capping at a maximum bonus of 90%. This means you will need around 120% effect hit rate to fully maximize this bonus. As for her technique, after activation, HYSILENS creates a special zone outside of combat that lasts for 20 seconds. Enemies inside this zone will enter enraptured state, making them unable to attack HYSILENS and instead follow wherever the dimension moves. When entering battle with enraptured enemies, there is the best chance to apply 2 different types of DoT right away. And that wraps up the kit for E0 HYSILENS. For those of you looking to invest further in her power, don't skip the next part of the video. We are diving into her EIDOLONS. HYSILENS may not be able to actively trigger DoT effects like Kafka does, but all of that changes with EIDOLON 1. Whenever she uses her ultimate and hits enemies, she will forcefully trigger all DoT effects currently on them, dealing 150% of their original damage. On top of that, she will also restore 1 skill point every time she creates a zone. Her Eidolon 2 enhances her zone utility even further. While the zone created from either her ultimate or technique is active, all enemies will have their all-type rest reduced by 20%. Moving on to Eidolon 4, this one is a significant boost for team-wide damage. One of her traces, which converts a portion of her effect hit rate into damage boost, will now also apply to all allies, enhancing the team's offensive power. And finally, Eidolon 6 turns HYSILENS Zone into an enhanced version. The trigger count for her physical DoT is now increased by 4. Additionally, every time HYSILENS inflicts any kind of DoT, there's now a best chance to inflict an additional DoT, calculated individually. This makes it possible to trigger her physical DoT up to 12 times in total. For the current version 1, it's clear that Eidolon 1 is the most worthwhile for HYSILENS, as it completely changes her gameplay mechanics. Even though it only allows her to force proc DoTs through her ultimate, when paired with characters like Kafka, the team's overall damage output increases significantly. On top of that, HYSILENS can restore skill points, making SP management much smoother, especially in DoT teams that include Kafka, who constantly wants to use her skill to force proc the DoTs on enemies. E2 and E4 are definitely nice additions, but I personally don't think they are worth the amount of SYNERGIES you would need to spend, so I would say E1 is enough. But keep in mind, this is still version 1 and there are surely many updates to come in the future. Any character equipped with this light coin will have their effect hit rate increased by 40%. When the user attacks an enemy using a basic attack, skill, or ultimate, there's the best chance to inflict an enthrallment effect for 3 turns. While under this condition, the enemy will receive 5% increased DoT damage, and this effect can stack up to 6 times. Additionally, when the user is attacked by an enemy, the user's speed will increase by 10% for 3 turns. Since HYSILENS is a Nihility type character who revolves around DoT and mechanics, every DoT focused character in the game naturally synergizes well with her. But of course, everyone knows who the true queen of DoT is. Where there's DoT, Kafka is never far behind. Kafka can force proc DoT effects on enemies even before their turn begin. Thanks to the buffs she received from the developers, she now has more access to higher damage output, especially through her follow-up attacks. On top of that, HYSILENS can easily gain a 100% attack bonus thanks to one of Kafka's traces, which grants a large attack increase if her allies' effect hit rate reaches 75%. Something HYSILENS can easily meet by using effect hit rate on her body piece. Aside from Kafka, Black Swan, whose performance had previously fallen off, may now be seeing comeback. With her defense reduction and vulnerability debuffs that apply at the start of enemy's turn, HYSILENS' DoT damage can become much more impactful. Not to mention, Black Swan's unique Arcana DoT can contribute extra triggers toward HYSILENS' physical DoT from her ultimate zone. Other units like Sampo and Guinevere are of course also valid DoT partners for HYSILENS, though Kafka still remains the top tier choice for this archetype. How about DoT Charon? Yes, I think HYSILENS still works well with her, especially because HYSILENS can apply debuffs so easily. But even so, I still believe it's better to use Cypher as a partner for Acheron, and instead build a dedicated DoT team specifically for HYSILENS. As for sustain options, it's better to go with characters who are aggressive in nature, such as Hyacinth, Gallagher, or Aventurine. This is because they can attack frequently, giving HYSILENS more chances to inflict DoTs consistently every time her allies attack. HYSILENS can attack more often through her Memo Sprite, and Gallagher contributes via his basic, ultimate, and enhanced basic attack, while Aventurine can trigger follow-up attacks, especially against enemies that hit frequently. That said, Ho-Ho is still a very viable support option, considering the attack boost and energy regen her ultimate provides to the entire team, an effect that's always welcome in any DoT comp. It's quite exciting to finally have a new DoT unit introduced into the game. That means the developers have not completely forgotten about this archetype. HYSILENS can inflict various types of DoTs regardless of element, such as Wind Shear or even Burn. On top of that, she applies important debuffs like vulnerability, defense reduction, and attack reduction to enemies. She can also inflict additional DoTs whenever her teammates attack, which helps keep the number of debuffs consistent. She even has a strong self-damage buff, which means building a team with harmony supports or even stacking 3 DoT units does not make that much of a difference in her overall damage output. However, despite all these strengths, HYSILENS is a heavily backloaded unit, similar to Black Swan, as she lacks any built-in ability to force proc DoTs. Because of this, it's safe to say that for now, at least in version 1, she still needs Kafka to function optimally. Her physical dot from her ultimate does scale with enemy HP, but is still capped at a percentage of her own attack, meaning she likely won't be immune to HP inflation in certain Star Rail endgame content. Also, while this is not necessarily a flaw in her kit, it may feel like disappointment for some players' expectations. She's not the type of Nihility unit that can make dot effects crit. And that wraps up the breakdown of HYSILENS Kit in version 1. What do you guys think? Are you satisfied with HYSILENS so far? Or do you think she will still need some adjustments in the future updates? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like and subscribe button if you haven't already. And I will see you guys on my next one.